Hi, this is Frank Radice for Red Touch Media, and we're here doing our continuing series on the future of content. I'm with Stuart Krasnow, who's the head of development for Telepictures. I have a question for you, Stuart, because I know that you were a television producer, now you're a television executive. What are the things that are different about those two kinds of jobs?
You know, I was very afraid to cross over to the dark side from producer to executive. It was something that I had entertained but never really said yes to. And the jobs are actually much more similar than I thought they were. You get to play in a lot of different sandboxes. You have to come up with the next big idea. You get to work on a lot of things at the same time. And I think I was kind of uniquely qualified to sort of take this kind of step and really just do it in a way where I had an incredible amount of resources and support to do it. And there's something nice about a constant paycheck.
Yeah, no kidding. Tell me a little bit about some of the shows that people would know that you produced, and then let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you're working on now.
Say Ricky Lake the first time around, The Weakest Link, Average Joe, Dog Eat Dog, Janice Dickinson Modeling Agency, pretty much, different things for, from docuseries and cable to primetime game, syndicated talk, worked on the Joan Rivers show when it was live back a long time ago, worked on Late Night with David Letterman, worked on CNN for 4 years, sitting with you, yeah. Worked at NBC, worked on the Today Show, was senior producer of Dateline. All in a 10-year period.
We crossed over a few times there at a few of those. Now, what are you up to these days?
Well, I mean, now with this different, title and it's a different responsibility, it's really about finding the next. It's still the same thing. What's the big hit? What's the great idea? What's that thing that's going to capture people? Telepictures has opened up our world into the digital and cable areas as really a platform to be able to be out there more and have more volume product with which to develop our first run syndication. I think the big win at the end of the day for us is really that show that's on every day, 5 days a week. We have Ellen, we have TMZ, we have a lot of extra, we have a lot of shows that are, almost the equivalent of over 2 primetime schedules put together. Over 30 hours of original content goes out of our offices essentially under our direction every day. So we're out there, and in a very big way we have the places to incubate and the places to and the relationships with stations to sell shows. And I think being on 5 days a week and building a franchise and not just an 8-episode order or 2 years of something or 3 years of something is really one of the biggest wins that you can still have.
You also have named a number of shows that actually have significant second screen applications to them. When developing programs, do you find that you need to be encouraging your teams to be talking about how that second screen is going to be activated, whether or not that second screen is actually a primary screen at some point? How do you have those conversations?
I'm assuming that most people are living their lives with not just 2 screens, but as many as 3 or 4. I mean, I have screens open almost in every aspect of my life, literally wearing one on my face right now. So I guess that's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I think the ways that we view content and the ways that we experience life right now are multifaceted, and then we have to be prepared to reach all of them. We had a launch of a test last year on the Fox station. 7 stations had aired a show of ours, The Real, which is now 93% sold, by the time we got to the convention this year. It would not have been there without the social media. We didn't have enough time because it was a very quick turnaround to launch that show the way we may have done in the past. But social media took us there and also made us realize that the product was worthy of attention because the buzz was there. I think it's ratings and buzz buzz is your social media. And if you're getting thousands of YouTube hits and if you're getting and the tweets are there and our cast is constantly tweeting everything out and sharing on Instagram. They would send Instagrams from the set pretty much all the time during the show. I think we have to be very sensitive to the fact that people want to watch shows not just on TV. They want to experience them. They want to experience them in a 360 way.
Do you think they want to engage with them beyond watching them?
Yes and no. I mean, I'm to the point as a viewer where I live tweets now, and I'm like, I'm almost rolling my eyes. I'm sure there are people out there who want to do that, but I think we have to be always sensitive to the fact there are people who are going to want to sit back and watch TV as a non-interactive experience, and there are people who are going to want to interact. And I think we have to be careful not to clutter our screens up and try to lure people in. I watched a lot of seasons of American Idol and never voted once. And I think, let people make their own decisions, but have that option there for them, certainly. And I think, we're looking at creating content that, everyone does their webisodes, their extra content, but we're we're also trying to give things that give different experiences on different screens at the same time. And I think, again, with like shows like Ellen and TMZ and the other stuff that we've been, developing in-house lately, it's always a factor. It's a part of the plan from day one. It's not an afterthought. I think your social media, your second, third screen application, so we're always kind of, oh, now we got to worry about that part. Let's just get the show great first. Now it all starts at the same time, which is a great place to develop from.
So let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room, and that's Google Glass. It strikes me that there might be some way to develop a television show for Google Glass. What do you think about that?
To me, it's like, I feel like whether you're, I think P.T. Barnum or the same people doing those jobs today trying to create things that entertain people is the exact same job. We've got to it's about the idea, it's about that talent, it's about that voice, that thing that everybody just, when they hear it, they want to see it and be a part of it. I think where we watch it, whether it's on this little tiny cube of a screen or whether it's on a giant new Ultra HD screen, it's sort of the same thing. It's still, the content has to be great, whether it's a 6-second Vine or a 13-hour Netflix series. I think we have to be able to accommodate people by giving them really great stuff to watch. That said, I do think that people have already tried to make, you change your shooting angles when you know something's going to play on mobile. I think you change, we've all adjusted to widescreen TVs. We've all adjusted to HD TV. We've seen presidential candidates look really bad on HD TV and probably lose elections partially because of that. So I think, the smaller the screens, the more wearable the screens that might be inserted into our brains one day, I think they'll all come into play, and we'll always have people especially looking for them. But I think the best content you make is the content that can play in all of them. And I think that's the big win.
Thank you very much. Stuart Krasnow, this is Frank Radice. See you next time.